Okay, so the second policy we're going to use, okay, maybe just to recap, the second market failure we encountered was positive externalities. And so the second policy I'm going to use subsidies to try and solve the positive externalities. Okay, so I mentioned here in figure 3. So I actually want, subsidies are very hard to draw sometimes. So I want to show you the exact way to draw it. So the way I tell people to draw for policies is I tell people to draw the market failure first. Okay, so in this case, there's positive externalities, so we draw the positive externalities first, right? So you do step by step, okay? Don't rush it, do properly. Price, benefit, cost, positive externalities first. So don't draw the policy first, just draw the externality. MSB is here, MPB is here, MPC equals MSC is here. This is Q, this is Q star, this is P, this is P star. Okay, so you draw the market failure first. After you do that, then you draw the policy. So then number 2, you draw policy. So you don't rush everything first, okay? You just draw step by step. You draw the blue color star first. Tell me how the market, I forgot to put the debit loss. So debit loss is here, the triangle pointing to the point that you want. A, B, C. Okay, so after you draw the policy, so this one you gotta be very careful, okay? So you gotta figure out where exactly you need to be. So you need to be at Q star, and people make decisions on this line over here, this line. They don't care about MSB, right? They make decisions based on MPB. So if you want to hit Q star, and you make decisions based on MPB, this is the point that you want, right? So this is the price that you need, and so then your new supply curve must be like this. So you draw the circle first, then you draw the line. Okay, draw the circle first, then draw the line. And this is your MPC subsidy, and you have lower prices to P1, like so. Okay, draw the blue color one, then draw the green color one. Find the circle first. Okay. So when you have a subsidy, how does it work? You got to make sure you write this. It lowers the cost of production, so it will cause the supply curve to shift downwards. So you are describing a diagram. I'm not sure if you can realize this, right? So link to diagram, and then you're lowering prices. When you lower prices, people will be encouraged to consume more, so therefore quantity demanded will rise. The new output will be at Q star here, and therefore it will eliminate the market failure. Okay, so be careful so there's no need to smoke or use your own words here. For subsidies, it's quite standard issue, which means you probably need to memorize now. Okay, so after you do this, I also mentioned that policy actually very easy to evaluate, so you should evaluate. Yeah. So I got 2 evaluations here. One is that I don't know how to accurately estimate the level of MEB. So you see here, this one assumes that the government can find this green circle over here, right? But the government could, if the government don't find the green circle, and they go and over subsidize, then they push it here, or they under subsidize and they push it here, you don't actually hit the sweet spot and eliminate market failure. And that's what the first point is trying to say. Okay, don't know how much to subsidize. If you over and you under, then what happens? Okay, over or under. The second one is again the same thing as the campaigns, which is this one is essentially about money. So I mentioned to you, there's opportunity cost, which is here. But if you remember, I also said that actually sometimes when you spend too much money, you run into something called a budget deficit. This is when the government spends too much. Deficit means not enough, right? Budget means the government's budget. So not enough means what? It means you got to tax future generations. And so this will lower standard of living for future generations. So now that you've learned standard of living, you can write this down as well. Okay, you can remember again. You just remember difficult to estimate? Money. Okay. So we've done R1, EV1, R2, EV2. So now let's go into conclusion. Okay, so this is the conclusion. I just want to iterate 3 points. Okay, the first one, how I always mention in class. First one, signpost. So new paragraph, okay, and signpost. Answer the question directly. They ask you to evaluate. So you say, oh yes, it has been largely effective. So answer the question directly. So I like students who do that. Then last one is the most difficult one, which is to use techniques. So I have 2 techniques here. One is root cause. Okay, that you should have a range of policies to tackle the root cause of the problem. Second one is mix of policies. This is also another technique you can use for policies, that you must always have a mix, because it needs to tackle both the short run and the long run. Okay, so these 3 means use techniques. So these are 3 techniques that I'm talking about.